Hello everyone, it's Mike Levin. Tuesday, April 19th at about 9:15 a.m. Yeah, I'm a little late for work again, but not terribly so. I was writing my script for today's Lunch and Learn that I'm going to be doing with the developers. So, I ought to talk to see if lunch should be ordered for that. I suppose it should be. And this is a talk I've sort of been waiting to give for my whole life, ever since I was with Scala, where I developed a lot of my skills in the field of SEO by aggregating all the digital signage customers from around the world, including NEC, that turned out to be Scala's key partner and distributor in Japan, which was directly traceable to the original search hit where they found Scala by searching on the term plasma applications. Yeah, I can trace these life cycle of relationships back to the search hit event that caused them. And sometimes the repeated search hit events, the discussion that ensued online. And if I could in those days, I would have tied it to the phone calls and any in-person notes people were making. I had that vision of CRM in a highly granular way back in, I don't know, that was 2001, 2, 3, on my second stay with Scala after they were no longer multimedia from their days with the Amiga computer history, and we're now Scala digital signage in order to target a more lucrative business market that existed in that space. And so that's where I developed my SEO skills, namely the ability to do XSLT transforms to slice and dice what was previously dynamic content into published static pages, named and linked together any way I wanted, literally making completely 100% algorithmically optimized pages, including off-page criteria, because when I performed a transform of a single data source, I could turn it into 10 linked together pages with the keywords in the previous next arrows. And I used that one trick to really excellent effect over the years, but those days are over because XSLT is a very complex and somewhat excessively overweight process, considering the alternatives available today, like using a more powerful programming language like Python, and then calling into service things like XSLT if you want to do those transforms, with much less motivation to slice and dice your data sources down to the short page level. Because when you have that power to go from database to HTML pages, you have to decide how long on average your page length are going to be. And you do that by simply deciding which elements you are going to dice on. That is, turn longer running stretches of, formatted for pagination, data, usually some XML objects stuffed into a relational database cell, into pages on the paragraph level, pages on the page level, pages on the chapter level, so you could have really long pages. And in fact, the system I developed internally had the language raw, slice, and dice. So you could output raw pages, sliced pages, or diced pages. And 9 times out of 10, you outputted on the slice level, which corresponded to a page. But I avoided, page and section nomenclature in favor of a higher level abstraction of bones and, slicing and dicing, in order to encourage the open-mindedness to the variety of transforms you could use as an alternative in order to get many more highly targeted pages, essentially to cast a larger and more tightly knit net of targeting nodes. And I'm not the only SEO who was doing stuff like that. Pretty much everyone worked that way, because everyone knew that if you played into the long tail and you published more of shorter light content pages, statistics would kick in and you could rake in the dough. You know, I created Hittail. I created something that was not quite as black hat as many of the things out there, and I simply told people what subject matter they should target based on what was right on the edge of working for them. If any of you know those games in the skee ball joints that have quarters and rakes, and you drop a quarter in and the rakes come out and they cascade down and drop, that's the long tail game, and that is the Hittail algorithm. It finds those places that are full of quarters, knowing that if you just drop it in the right place, i.e. publish on this subject matter in a natively search optimized, from a technical sense, blogging platform like WordPress, you will capture page one. That was Hittail. That is Hittail. It's still running strong today. And there's a lot of other better techniques now, and that all the way is going away just by virtue of Google closing that chapter on the internet's history. There's a long story there about how Eric Schwartz, when he was CEO of Eric Schmidt, when he was CEO of Google, talking to a room full of magazine publishers in 2008, that they were about to do the giant cleanup. Well, they did. And we're many years into it, a half decade into that cleanup. And so now Google, even though correlation doesn't mean causation, with that qualifier, Google is favoring fewer, longer pages that are linked in high in your website hierarchy. And so that's a large part of the message that I'm going to be delivering today to the developer group here, plus a lot of other things which falls under the category of proprietary. And if you read any of my written stuff in my journal, you'll see I'm thinking an awful lot these days about the proprietary versus free and open source split, because they each offer special advantage, special competitive ability in the professional workspace. Free and open source software offers a better starting point in almost every way, from lack of bugs, in well-tested, highly exposed, tempered in the Forge. It's, SourceForge started it, but GitHub is where a lot of this stuff lives. Community of the free and open source software developers. And stuff like Python doesn't even have corporate sponsorship. It's not like Java that's had IBM and Oracle behind it for years. The Python programming language, which is so popular in the free and open source world, is you can't really count, Dropbox, even though Guido van Rossum, who developed it, is or was, I'm not sure, still working for them. He moves around, but that gets right to the point. Google didn't lock him in place, even though he worked for them for a while. So Python continues to belong to the public because of benevolent dictators like Guido van Rossum, and he's not the only one. The granddaddy of this all, well, no, I shouldn't say that. The father of this all, Linus Torvalds, has the same MO, and the granddaddy, Ken Thompson, is still at it and still in play, working for Google, helping them with the Go language, which is only appropriate because he's the granddaddy because of Unix, which Linux was more or less derived from. I know, big discussion there, but for the most part, what we're talking about is a few of these giants on whose shoulders we're all standing, with Ken at the base, Linus above him, Guido above him, and then I don't know, maybe Bram Molyneux, who made Vim, above him, so that you've got a full development environment. And then of course Linus, who created Git. So with Linux, Python, Vim, and Git, you got pretty much everything you need And so in this new world of SEO that we're in, where the rules are quite different, you have to be known for something. You have to be the genuine, real thing article, the go-to person on subject matter whenever it comes up that everyone agrees on. I am the Venn diagram intersection of Linux, Python, Vim, and Git, SEO as a field, marketing and media in general, and being an awesome dad here in New York City. Thanks for joining me. Hope to see you again soon, and don't forget to subscribe.